Good morning and welcome to the Tollcross Swimming Centre here in the East End of Glasgow. We are here for day 2 of the IPC Swimming World Championships. And what a competition we've had so far. I'm joined again today by Liz Johnson for the heat session. Morning, Liz.
Morning, great to be back.
We had a great day yesterday, and let's have a look at some of the highlights we had from last night's final session. Ihor Boki, the Belarus champion, came through. He was well ahead of the field in the 50 freestyle. He held the world record at 23.21. He bettered that by 1/100th of a second, 23.20 for Ihor Boki. He took his 10th World Championship gold medal. But what about this young lady, the star of yesterday? We saw her set a new world record in the heat. It's Ellie Cole of Australia, coming back after shoulder surgery. 108.89 was the world record she set in the heats. She bettered that in the final. What a swim, well ahead of the rest of the field. 108.6. Ellie Cole, another couple of tenths off her record, in absolutely great form. We'll see her again in the events this morning. And what about Daniel Diaz of Brazil? Brazil's most decorated Paralympian of all time was up against the local favourite Andrew Mullen from Great Britain. Mullen had to settle for silver ahead of Eroglu from Turkey, but Daniel Diaz was the champion again. 35.34, a championship record. And Mereshko came head-to-head against Great Britain's favourite Ellie Simmons. The Ukrainian in the orange cap had a great battle in the 400 freestyle for the S6 classification. It came down to the last few metres, but it was Mereshko who broke the dominance of Ellie Simmons in this event to take gold for Ukraine, again in a new championship record. A great way to finish the evening. Mereshko taking the gold ahead of Simmons. So a number of records were set yesterday, and a lot to look forward to today, Liz. It's breaststroke day today for you. Your event is on.
Yep, my favourite day, breaststroke day, and it's going to be busy, and we've got a lot of defending Paralympic and world champions trying to do the same again today.
Well, we do start off with some of the breaststroke events this morning. Crowd are getting warmed up here for this heat session. We had the USA team, there they are, waving to themselves on the screen here in Tollcross. They'll have a good day yesterday, the USA team. Men's 100 breaststroke kicks us off for the SB5 classification. Visually impaired swimmers in the SM13 class and the 200 individual medley. And we move on to the breaststroke SB6, Liz, one you're looking forward to.
Exciting.
And the 100 freestyles, more breaststroke to come in the SB7. We move on to the 400 freestyle for the S11 class, swimmers with no vision at all. The SM10, 200 IM, and the SB8, more breaststroke. It really is breaststroke morning this morning. And the sprints finish us off that session in the men's and women's 50 metres freestyle in the S4 class. So a lot to look forward to indeed. We saw 3 world records in the final session last night. Let's hope we have more today. The men's 100 breaststroke SB5 Heat 1 is about to come out for the first heat of this morning. Carl Forsman and Yuri Luchin are in 4 and 5. So, well, Liz, breaststroke. We've got the right person here today, the expert.
He is the man at the moment. He 2 years ago in Montreal, he finished 5th in 1 minute and 40 seconds, and he's already posted times this year of 1 minute and 33 seconds. That's huge gains. So he's only 18 years old, so we'll see what he's got this morning.
There they are, they're coming out of those big long tunnel there, the call room. At the back of that long tunnel here at Tollcross, that's the athletes stand around the tunnel that they come out. They come out in the centre here, and they fan out to the appropriate lanes there as they come up the ramp. Of course, this is the SB5 class, so a number of the swimmers will be swimming without the use of the lower limbs. It is the SB5, of course, 1 to 10, the classifications for a physical disability, 1 being the most severe disability, and 10 being least impaired. This is right in the middle of the SB5. There's Carl Forsman, 133.82 was the time he posted to qualify for this championship. Oh, he's psyching himself up today. Looks like he means business.
Getting those strong arms pumped, and as you'll notice, there's lots of strong arms on show today, and Pedro Rangel has been the Paralympic champion before in 2008, but now that this guy in your shot at the moment, Carl Forsman, really is bringing the challenge this morning.
Well, Safaltos from Greece in lane number 6. He may challenge. Of course, we have 2 heats in this one, and the top 8 times, the fastest 8 times from the 2 heats will progress to the final this evening. You see the variety of starts here. Some swimmers starting from the block, some in the water. We have 6 starts there in 6 and 7, and a whole variety there as they get underway. Good start there, probably lane number 5. It's Yuri Luchin from Russia, just edging Carl Forsman in the early stages.
The majority of the guys in this race will be looking to breathe every other stroke to keep themselves more streamlined. And I'm not sure that Carl Forsman was expecting quite such a push so early on this morning from Yuri Luchin, but they'll be looking to post really fast times this morning because the defending world champion and defending Paralympic champion go in the next heat.
It's very, very tight here at the turn here. It will be Forsman just about there, 43.45. It's a very fast time there at the turn, and the world record has stood since Atlanta 1996. Casper Engel of the Netherlands, and I can tell you they're not too far away from world record pace at the moment, Liz.
They'll be glad that they've got each other pushing each other on here, and Carl Forsman actually started in the water, so we wouldn't expect his second 50 to be that much lower than his opening 50, and he's starting to pull away now in this last 25 metres.
Well, young man from Sweden, very, very fast 50. Let's have a look at the clock here. Surely we can't be on world record pace for the very first event this morning. Carl Forsman is not going to be too far away at all from that, maybe just outside, but a very good performance there from Carl Forsman of Sweden. He will take that one in 1:33.24. Yuri Luchin 1:34.51 in second position, and Pedro Rangel 1:38 in third position. Those 3 you would think would be safe enough to make their way to the finals, but of course it all depends on what happens in heat number 2. But Carl Forsman, he certainly went out for that one. He was a European champion last year, looking now to become world champion here, and he looks on great form indeed.
As you said, Paul, a variety of starts on show, and actually Carl Forsman doesn't get much of an advantage there, but the strength really shows through in the closing stages with those 2 big arms that he's got leading him to the front of the race. And as he comes into the wall now, he hits it, as we'll see, bang on a full stroke, which is always good for a breaststroke finish.
Carl Forsman takes that first heat, 1:33.24 ahead of Yuri Luchin of Russia, 1:34.51. Heat number 2 sees Lim Woo Gyun of Korea in the fastest lane in lane 4. Here is the Paralympic champion, gold medal from London, 1:32.20 in qualification. He will be hoping to stamp his authority on this one. We saw a Korean gold medal last night, and we'll be hoping for a repeat today from Lim Woo Gyun.
Take your marks.
Again, a variety of starts here, Liz, but a good start from the Paralympic champion in lane number 4. Went from the dive there.
He got some great distance off that block then, and these guys won't be looking to use too much of the underwater because they just don't have the leg kit. So you'll notice that they all were up into their strokes as soon as they could be. And Roberto Rodriguez is having a blistering start, and I know that he actually tries to hold his breath for as long as possible on each stroke rather than adopting the standard every other stroke that most of these swimmers will be using.
And there is Roberto Rodriguez there with that kind of luminous cap of Brazil that's becoming so familiar. Brazil at the top of the medal table after day 1 with 3 gold medals. And Lim is through in first position in 44.8, so slightly slower than the first heat. But he came off the turn very well there. Also going well is the Vietnamese swimmer in lane number 2, Can Han Do, up there at the top of your screen, but he's falling back now. And the big 2 in the centre, Lim and Rodriguez pulling away here.
Yeah, these athletes won't have needed to push the first 50 quite so hard because they had the benefit of being in the second heat, so they could see what times that the first guys had already posted. But as you can see, it's going to be a pretty close finish here, but these 3 should look to comfortably qualify for the final. Roberto Rodriguez, though, he isn't giving up, is he?
He's not. He's been challenged actually by Andrei Granichka. We saw Granichka come back very strongly in the 400 freestyle yesterday, and he's come back strongly here. Not quite good enough to catch Lim. Lim will take that heat. Granichka in second and Rodriguez in third. And I think that will be good enough for them to progress to the final. Expect them to go significantly faster this evening.
I would expect them all to have another gear to go to, because as I said, the second heat you have that luxury of knowing what you need to do to make the top 8 places for the final.
Yeah, they knew what they had to do, and they just did enough. As long as you're in the final, you've got a chance.
Got a lane, got a chance. That's right, Paul.
There's Lim. Doesn't look like he's breathing that heavily at the end there. Got a very good start there.
He'll look to capitalise on that distance that he gets off the start this morning. You'll see that's why he's able to hold his breath for so long and for so many strokes. And coming into the finish, he's changed his breathing pattern, and he hits it with half a stroke, and he'll be looking to just hit it on a full stroke tonight.
Sometimes the danger there when you are easing up there, your kind of timing of your strokes as you approach the finish, maybe not quite as it would have been. The result is confirmed. Lim takes that heat number 2 ahead of Granichka and Rodriguez. The women's 100 breaststroke already ready for the start as the other swimmers clear the water. And we have 10 swimmers in this heat. They have to reduce to 8 for the final. There's Victoria Tabtsova, Liz, a swimmer you know well.
Yep, Paralympic champion and the SB 600 breaststroke from London.
Sabine Weber-Treiber. That yellow costume, a big hope for Austria to try and get their first medal of these championships here. Tabtsova and Weber-Treiber way in 4 and 5 at the moment. Also going well, Verena Schott of Germany in lane 6.
Verena Schott, actually, she had to take some time out in 2011 because she had her first child. So it's great to see her back in the water and as strong as she ever was before her break. These girls will be looking to capitalise on the absence, the recent retirement of Kirsten Brun, who obviously dominated this event for so long. So Victoria Stastova comes in with the best time, so she would on paper be the favourite, but this doesn't seem to be really following the form guide right now.
It certainly doesn't, and kind of an inverted V there, and it's the Vietnamese swimmer here, Trinh Vishnu, is leading them through on that first 50 there. We saw the Vietnamese swimmer go out very well in the men's breaststroke, just faded at the end. I think T. Quinn is going to just about hang on here and gain a place in the final this evening. But it is Verana's shot, and looks like it is Savtsova now coming back strongly in the centre lane.
Savtsova had a really good turn then, and she's one of the few girls in this classification group that can actually get a benefit off a push off the wall, and we saw that, and it gave her a great propulsion to take her just to the head of this field. It's not going to be as clear as she would have hoped, I don't think, for the morning, but again, she's just looking to drop 2 swimmers from this final, and from this heat, sorry, and she will be going into the final in lane 4 this evening.
Looks like she is going to take it there. Savtsova is just about going to take it. Verana's shot coming back at the end there. It wasn't a great finish from Savtsova there, but Fanny Illis it was coming through for 3rd position in that heat from lane 1. So danger all over the place there. That heat not really going according to the seeding at all, but Savtsova came through strongly in the end. We saw her last year and she struggled in the heat, didn't she, and didn't even make the final, but she's made sure this time.
Yeah, she's a good 15 seconds faster than she was there last year, so she's back on the right track, and she's not known for her finishing because she's got such a short arm stroke, but she'll be comfortable with how that went. And as you'll see, she's not got a great dive, which is surprising considering how good her turn is, and Verana's shot really made the most of those powerful arms and the swing off the block. But right here now, oh, a quick look around, she'll be looking to eradicate that tonight.
Just trying to make sure of her place in the final, I'm sure, looking around, do I have to do very much? It wasn't a good finish at all, was it? And Verana's shot came in for 2nd position, and Fanny Illis in 3rd position there, and I think in 4th position could have been the Vietnamese swimmer. We'll just get confirmation of those results here, but that's Savtsova. This time she's securely into the final, I'm sure. And the results are now official. Savtsova will take that heat ahead of Schott, Illis and Twin. There's 200 metres individual medley for the SM13 class is next into the pool. Senko from Ukraine in the centre lane.
Take your marks.
World Championship silver medalist. Looks like we are missing a swimmer here in lane number 7. But we do have swimmers taking the start. 7 swimmers taking the start here. Salguero Tisa from Spain, Safutinov of Russia, Sean Russo from Australia, Denisenko, favourite here in lane number 4, Chufarov, the SM12 world record holder, Salai from Azerbaijan in 6, and Fasaniev from Kazakhstan in lane 8. Of course, a combined event, there's only 1 medal, of course, but the SM12s are swimming up with the SM13s, both visually impaired classes.
Yes, that's a recent change to the Paralympic programme, and these guys will be looking to see how they fare against each other ahead of next year to make their schedule decisions early on so they can do the training for next year that's necessary. And that was a shocking turn there in lane 5 from Danilo Shavarov, and you can only think that he wouldn't have seen the flags. And that is an issue with these visually impaired swimmers, because a lot of them can see black on white or white on black better, and the colour of the flags really does impair them.
Yeah, they won't have much sight here, these swimmers, partially sighted swimmers. A range of eye conditions will have been examined by the classifiers to classify these swimmers in their appropriate classifications. At the moment, it is Denisenko, one of the SM13 class swimmers. going ahead there, and that was a very good turn there. He came out very fast. And next to him looks like Raman Salai of Azerbaijan, but he's away and clear, Liz.
He's looking very comfortable here, and how he'll just be strolling in, because he won't actually be able to see his competitors, even if they were a bit closer to him. So he's just focused on his own race, and a lot of these swimmers will be counting their strokes into the wall.
It is going to be Denisenko. Will get in there in 2:11.68. Sean Russo came through very strongly for Australia, and Raman Salai, one of the Salai brothers from Azerbaijan, he should secure his place in the final. We've got a couple of swimmers still to make the finish. Sanaev from Kazakhstan coming in lane number 8. He completes the finishers, but it's a pretty good time there. 2:11.66 for Denisenko, just half a second outside his entry time, so he will be pleased with that one, I'm sure. Sean Russo finished very strongly on the freestyle. He was down in 5th position after the butterfly, worked his way through the field there into 2nd place, 2:15.25.
These guys have all got really strong starts because they can make the most of it. It's the place where their vision impedes them the least. So, and then the lead changes hands a lot in a 200 medley, and that's what makes it one of the most exciting races in the programme. He's got a great breaststroke, high recovery coming, and then it put him in a great place to finish the freestyle easily, to save as much energy as he could for this evening.
The result is confirmed. Denisenko, Russo and Salai, the top 3.
Take your marks.
Second heat is underway. We have Abdurrahmiov from Uzbekistan in lane 0, Turbay from Canada in 1, Pankov from Uzbekistan in lane 2, Clipper from Ukraine in 3, Ihar Boki in world record breaking form, he goes in lane 4 from Belarus, Dmitry Salai, second of the 2 Salai brothers, he goes in 5, Sergei Punko in 6, Jacob Templeton in 7 for Australia, and Sudzalai for Belarus in lane number 8. Ihar Boki looking great.
He's up and into the lead. He's already got a comfortable lead, so he'll be looking to sustain that now and coast the second half of this 200 individual medley, because there will be a hangover from last night. He will be tired. He will have had to go through drugs testing, and he will have ended up getting back late by doing media interviews. So he'll be looking to conserve as much energy as possible, but he's already well clear of the field, so he can now relax and enjoy this.
If there is a weakness to Ihar Boki, it's probably the breaststroke, I would think. I think that was one of the events that he didn't manage to win gold in London. He won 5 Paralympic gold. He's already won 10 World Championship gold in now this is his 3rd World Championship, but for a weakness, it's not bad, is it?
Not at all. And the medley, in the individual medley, the breaststroke can be a significant game changer of a length. But he'd given himself such a lead after the first 100 metres that he didn't have to worry about people breathing down his neck on that breaststroke leg, and now he can just coast down this final 50 metres. He's a good 10 metres clear of the rest of the field.
Well, he's as smooth as silk, isn't he? Ihar Boki. It looks so very easy for the man from Belarus. Here's the world record holder at 2:03.79. This is an excellent swim, 2:05.11. Not too far away, just a second and a bit away from his own world record. He is followed home by Dmitry Salai in 2nd position in 2:13 for Dmitry Salai, 2:13.46. 3rd position, Sergei Punko, the experienced man representing Russia. He is in 2:18.00. But very good for Ihar Boki. Difficult to see anyone who's going to challenge him tonight.
Ihar Boki just put on the cruise control button, and I think tonight I would fear that world record might get broken.
Abdurrahimov from Uzbekistan is in for next position. A good swim from Ihar Boki there. 205.11. Wow, that was fantastic. There's Punko coming out there. And there's a start from Ihar Boki. Great work under the water.
Yeah, they'll really look to get as much as they can off those walls, because these guys, it is their vision that's impaired. So physically, there's no reason why they can't utilise the fastest part of that race. And he just cruised into that wall. There's half a second there when he goes quickly tonight.
Yarboki takes that one in 2:05.11. Saleh in second, Punko in third. A new Asian record for Pankov in fourth. Move on to the women's 200 IM SM13 heat number 1. Hannah Russell from GB goes in lane number 4.
Take your marks.
Hannah Russell, her first race of these championships, got heavy programme here. Again, it's a combined event, Liz. S12s and 13s together. Hannah Russell and S12. It's going to be tough for her, but she's in a good position at the moment.
She's got a great butterfly, and she was a medalist in the London 2012 Paralympic Games. And the 200 individual medley really is a relatively new event for her to her programme. But I think because she's got 3 such strong strokes, if she works on her breaststroke, she really could be a medal contender for this evening.
She's ahead of Joanna Mendak from Poland, who has dominated the 100 butterfly event for many years, the Polish swimmer, and Hannah Russell has just got well ahead of the 100 butterfly world record holder in the early stages of the IM. Backstroke is Hannah Russell's great speciality, world record holder in her class, and she is showing that, stretching away.
Hannah Russell had a great 2014, back end of 2014. She broke the world record in the 100 metre backstroke for the first time, and then beginning of this season broke the 400 freestyle world record. So she's definitely got the stamina for this race. It'll be how well his breaststroke holds up against the rest of the field.
Tegan Van Roosmalen from Australia in second position there at the halfway stage. We have Maria Delgado Nadal in third position for Spain in lane number 6. Mendak down into fourth position now. But Hannah Russell looking really strong here in the blue cap of Great Britain. 3 heats in this one, so she's got to make sure of her position at the front of the field. But Hannah Russell looking like she is going to secure that with ease here. Hannah Russell going really well.
Hannah Russell will look, because she's in the first of 3 heats, she would look to have come in to win the heat, to make sure that she gets the space in that final tonight, and also get rid of any pre-competition nerves, because it's not her number 1 event, but she does have a strong chance of a medal. So she'll be looking to stamp her authority on these SM12, S13 races, because a lot of them are combined in this competition.
Freestyle looks a lot smoother than it has done in the past for Hannah Russell. She's worked very hard. She's had a very jerky freestyle stroke. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was for Hannah Russell, and it's very, very powerful indeed. Into the last 5. It's going to be an excellent time for Hannah Russell. 2:33.16 for Hannah. Some way outside her best time, but it should be enough to secure her a spot in the final this evening. Joanna Mendak from Poland in second position, but some 5 seconds behind Russell. Van Roosmalen in third position, and Delgado Nadal in fourth. Petra Kovačová in 5th position for Slovakia. But Hannah Russell, the front of the field there, she really dominated that one start to finish.
Yeah, we could see from her strokes that she's a lot more fluid than she used to be, as you mentioned, and she's really benefited from a recent move to Manchester, because she went there for university, and so she's got the best strength and conditioning, coaching, everything, the support network that a visually impaired swimmer needs to make their life as easy as possible so they can get the most out of their training.
Graham Smith, one of our coaches, an Olympic medalist himself in the distance freestyle event in the Atlanta Games in 1996. And Hannah Russell, number of events this week. Again, like Punko, probably breaststroke her least favourite stroke of the 4.
Breaststroke is definitely her weakest, but she'll be happy with that. There's a lot. All of her strokes improved tremendously, and she's looking forward to this.
So Russell takes that one. Heat number 1 goes to Hannah Russell of GB. Heat number 2 is ready to go now. We have Sudzilava, Belarus in lane number 1. Raquel Vale of Brazil in 2. Edo Beltran of Spain in lane 3. Raya Stukalova in lane 4 from Russia. Colleen Young in 5 from USA. Gomez Patelli from Spain in 6. And Sanne Hoffman from the Netherlands, the 13-year-old, in lane number 7. Stukalova first to the wall. Stukalova and Hannah Russell have had some great tussles in recent years.
Yes, Stukalova is a great swimmer. She's really stepped up in the absence of Oksana Shevchenko after she did so well in London in 2012. And so to get the bronze medal in London, but now a strong, she's had the hold on this event for the last couple of years, and she'll be looking to dominate, even though we've stepped up and she's going to have to race against the SM13 swimmers.
It's interesting that in the top 3 times, although it is a combined event, that there are 2 SM12s in the top 3 times here. And that's Russell, Stukalova, the 2 SM12s. We'll see the fastest posted entry time, world record holder in the SM13 class, Rebecca Myers, in the last heat. But Stukalova now just being pressed by Colleen Young.
Colleen Young actually has a great breaststroke, and breaststroke is so important, as we always say in the 200 friendly. As we can see from this, she's actually catching and will probably look to take the lead by the end of this length. She was the youngest US Paralympian at London 2012, and she's really used that experience to now push on and go home and train harder and be motivated to be the best.
She's only just 17 now, Colleen Young. She is showing great style here ahead of Stukalova. That was a great breaststroke leg. And Colleen Young will head for home in front of Stukalova, but Stukalova looks very smooth on the freestyle.
As quite often, the best freestylers don't make the best breaststrokers, and as we can see, the best breaststrokers don't always make the best freestylers. But these two are both swimming well here, and both look to make a time that will get them into the final tonight.
Stukalova will always be a danger if she's in touch. Come to the freestyle leg. Very strong freestyler. She's almost stopped there as she comes in to the finish in 2:34.19. So pretty impressive for Daraya Stukalova. She will definitely be a threat, and that will progress her to the final, just slightly slower than Russell in the first heat. Colleen Young in second, and Edo Beltran in third position.
She'll be happy to have touched the wall first there, Stukalova. And Colleen Young can't be disappointed to finish second to Stukalova, and that breaststroke leg will give her great confidence for later in the week.
There is Stukalova just coming in to the back to breast turn there, and at the end, well, it's very easy at the end. She had a lot in reserve there. Colleen Young swam a good breaststroke leg. She finishes second behind Stukalova. Third heat sees the world record holder Rebecca Myers from the USA in the centre lane. Rebecca Myers, a medalist in the London
Take your marks.
Paralympic Games. She progressed from there to win the World Championships 2 years ago. She's now set a world record last year. We'll see what she can do in this third heat. She'll want to make sure of a place in the final. She'll want to make sure of a good lane in the centre of the pool.
Yes, Rebecca Myers as an SM13 swimmers will have slightly more vision than those SM12 swimmers, and if she can get herself into a middle lane for this evening, then she'll have that advantage of probably being able to see her competitors just either side of her, and that makes a massive difference.
She's ahead in the early stages. Stetsenko, who got a silver medal last night in the 50 freestyle. Well, Stetsenko is a very strong freestyler, so a bit like Stukalova, if she's in touch when they come to the end of the breaststroke leg, you can expect Stetsenko to make up some ground here, and she is pulling back on the backstroke leg against Rebecca Myers here. It could be very close as they come into halfway. Rebecca Myers, Stukalova and Alicia Berra, I think, from Italy in third position.
In a close medley race, you always want to be the freestyler because it gives you the best chance to do the chasing down. But let's not count Rebecca Myers out because she is the current world record holder, like Hannah Russell, in that SM13 400 freestyle class.
Just have a look how Rebecca Myers is doing here. 110.15. It's very, very fast in the first 100 there. Just 0.1 of a second outside the pace she was when she set the world record. And look at the breaststroke here for Rebecca Myers. Wow, that's very impressive here. Stetsenko being left for dead here as Rebecca Myers stretches away to, well, 2 or 3 metre lead, almost 4 metres as they come in to the final turn.
Rebecca Myers really gained the benefit. She put a lot of effort into that first 15 metres of that breaststroke leg, but she's reaped the rewards, and now she's clear of the field, and she can take this freestyle length as easily as she likes because she'll comfortably make a spot for the final now.
Well, we said if Stetsenko was in touch, she might have a chance in the freestyle, but the trouble was she wasn't in touch because Rebecca Myers just flew away on that breaststroke. She is inside world record pace here, Rebecca Myers. Let's see if she pushes this one. We may well be inside that world record mark. 2:26 it is now. She has eased back significantly there. 2:29 it is for Rebecca Myers, but at the 150 mark, she was inside world record pace. So Rebecca Myers, well, that is going to be a good one tonight. She is going to be tough to beat. 2:29, significantly the fastest time of the 3 heats.
She was so comfortable in that closing stages, and I think that will really set us up for what could be an exciting race tonight, because Hannah Russell has the ability to get under 2:30.
Rebecca Myers, championship record there, 2:29.32. She can be very happy with her work there. Stetsenko and Berra, that's the top 3. Well, try and bring you confirmation of who has made it into that final. The top 8 fastest times from the 3 heats will progress to the final this evening.
The breaststroke is probably, again, Rebecca Myers' weakest stroke, but she really used it to her advantage and knowing her strengths against competitors so that she was able to finish into that wall without even having to take a breath, really. She looks happy.
Rebecca Myers wins that final heat of the 3 heats for the SM13. Move on to the SB6 events. It's the men's 100 breaststroke SB6. Yevgeny Bohodayko and Torben Schmidtke in the centre lane. As these swimmers ready to go. Remember, send us your tweets here on your thoughts on the championships here. Follow at IPC Swimming, hashtag Glasgow 2015. Send those messages in, we'll try and read them out to you. ipswimming.org, go to that for more information. Or like IPC Swimming on facebook.com. And also visit glasgow2015.com for the latest news about the World Championship. So please send your tweets in. Liz will keep an eye on the Twitter.
I'll try.
And we'll read out your messages if we can. Torben Schmidtke psyching himself up here. Look at that, the German, he's ready.
Just relax, gentlemen, please, just relax.
I think there is a little bit of a delay here for the start. He's running a little bit ahead of schedule here, actually. Any tweets coming in, Liz?
I'll tell you as soon as I can figure it out. I know that Glenn Smith is in the building to watch the next event, the SB6 Women's 100 Breaststroke from Nova Centurion down in Mansfield. He'll be looking to support Charlotte Henshaw on her bid to win her first World Championship gold medal.
Take your marks.
The one and only heat of the men's 100 breaststroke SB6 is underway. It is only one heat. We have 10 swimmers in this one. They have to go down to 8 for the final. Bodaiko has dominated this event in recent years, but he is being pressed at the moment. In lane number 3, Nelson Crispin has made a good start.
Nelson Crispin finished 4th at London 2012, so he'll be really looking now to stamp his authority on this race. And Yevgeny Bodaiko really took it on. I mean, since 2006, this world record has come down to 7 seconds, which is considerably more than the ladies. Bodaiko actually looks like he knows what he's doing. He's controlled, and the good thing about breaststroke is you can, if people are far enough ahead, you can find a pace off of them.
Torben Schmidtke there in the centre lane. He pressed Bodaiko in the European Championships last year. Bodaiko in the blue cap there. Nelson Crispin in the white cap. Torben Schmidtke in the black cap. And Nelson Crispin, I think, is going to take this one. It's going to be a good time too. Nelson Crispin just tying up slightly as he's coming in to the closing stage. He's very close between these three, but Crispin does take it in 1:23.90, and that's a new record for the Americas region. And Nelson Crispin on great form there. Fantastic, 1:23.90. Bodaiko in second, Torben Schmidtke in third position.
Nelson Crispin, more known for his 50-metre freestyle speed. He is the current world champion, but he'll be over the moon with that race, and I wouldn't rule. Bodaiko's probably got a bit left in the tank for this evening, as has Torben Schmidt.
Nelson Crispin went very well there. He led, well, he's very close to the lead actually. Schmidtke and Crispin very close at the turn, but Crispin was the stronger in the closing stages there. Not a great finish there. He didn't quite finish on a full extension.
No, the interesting thing about the SB6 breaststroke classifications is that there's so many different types of impairment, as we can see.
Crispin does it. America's record, 1:23.90. Bodaiko second, Schmidtke in third. Going to be close in the final this evening. The two GB swimmers in the centre lanes for this one. Ellie Simmons and Charlotte Henshaw in 4 and 5. They will be favourites. Now Liz Ellie Simmons, the European champion, in lane number 4, but next to her, Charlotte Henshaw in lane number 5. She will challenge the GB teammate. There's a 13-year-old Nicole Turner. The 13-year-old Tiffany Thomas-Kane from Australia. 13-year-olds in 6 and 7. A good start from Tiffany Thomas-Kane there, getting ahead of the rest of the field. A very good start from the young Australian.
Tiffany Thomas-Kane has come into great form this year. She's never really been on the world rankings before, but she's got a great 50 freestyle, and her time has come down about 6 seconds in this event since the beginning of 2015. But Charlotte Henshaw, she is consistently top of the world rankings at the end of every year, and has been for the last 4 years. But she'll be looking to put in a strong performance. She actually broke the European record that she'd held for 5 years in this very pool 2.5 weeks ago. So she's coming into this meet in the form of her life. They'll go into the turn though And Charlotte wouldn't have expected to be behind at this stage. She's really worked on the second half of her race, and she's actually wearing a bodysuit for the first time in her whole career. She's always only ever raced in a costume, and here she is starting to crawl back.
Different disabilities there. Tiffany Thomas-Kane, someone with dwarfism. And Charlotte Henshaw, double leg amputee from below the knees. That's going to affect her in the closing stages differently, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. She's got very, very strong arms, and she is without doubt the most powerful athlete in the pool at the moment. But it does mean that all of the pain centres in the same place, and she'll start to feel that lactate burn. Ellie Simmons, Tanya Hubner, they'll be comfortably 3rd and 4th, but Ellie had a late finish last night, so she'll be cruising this heat. Tiffany, wow, that's amazing.
That is 136.50 for Tiffany Thomas-Kane, and Charlotte Henshaw, well, 137.45. It's a lifetime best for Charlotte Henshaw, another European record for Charlotte, but she's behind 136.59 for Tiffany Thomas-Kane, the young 13-year-old from Australia. Set a new oceanic record there, and she will be first into the final. Well, she led from the start. She got a fantastic start, didn't she?
Yeah, she led from start to finish, and Charlotte did everything she could there. She came in, she swam better than she's ever swum before, European record. You can't plan for something like that, but when they're 13 years old, they come in first World Championships. We saw it with Ellie Simmons in Beijing in 2008. They take it and they use, and look at this finish. She finishes on, she's got a bit more for tonight, I would say. And Charlotte needs to go away now. She's so happy there, Tiffany, but Charlotte needs to go away now and control her emotions, because that will be the determining factor.
Men's 100 freestyle for the S9 classification. There is the lineup for Heat 1. Federico Morlacchi from Italy. Well, what can you say about this man? 5 gold medals in the European Championships last year. A man very much on form, and be hoping to repeat that here at the World Championship. Tamas Tolk had a great swim yesterday in the 100 backstroke, took Hungary's first medal of these championships. He'll be hoping to repeat that. He is a Paralympic medalist in this event, Tamas Tolk. 2 silver medals from London in the 50 and in the 100 freestyle. Again, a little bit of a delay here, Liz. It's not going to help though. I'm not sure what the hold-up is today. I think we are slightly ahead of schedule though, so maybe that's got something to do with it, maybe waiting for the appointed time.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go ahead of the stated race start time. But also, in the technical events like breaststroke and medley, when there's a lot of varying class impairments involved, just to make sure there's been no disqualifications often takes a little bit longer, because those SB6 swimmers will have more stroke requirements than a lot of the higher classifications.
Yeah, the officials here in the red shirts, very experienced. A number of them been around for quite a while on the international scene officiating. They're doing everything by the book. Before we can move on to this one, we'll just wait for confirmation of the previous heat results, and we do have an official result here. There has been a disqualification. That was what the hold-up was for. It didn't affect the top 3 places, though. An oceanic record, a European record for the top 2 in that previous heat.
Take your marks.
So this is first heat of the men's S9 100 freestyle. Morlacchi and Tolk in 4 and 5. Experienced Japanese Yamada in lane number 3 also may well challenge this one, but Morlaki is behind Thomas Tolt at the moment. Thomas Tolt, the sprinter, more than the 100 freestyler, you would say. He's out fast, and Filo going well, the Brazilian.
Well, Bernardo Filo will be looking to post a quicker time than his compatriot in the next heat, because they've got a bit of a rivalry going for that final spot in their 34-point relay that's got a really good chance of getting on the podium later in the week. But Thomas Toth, fresh off his 100 backstroke bronze medal last night, is leading this field and not leaving anything to chance.
Well, 2 heats in this one now, and Thomas Toth is going to take this one in 58.04. Good time for Thomas Toth. Morlaki did get through for 2nd position. The experienced Yamada in 3rd, and Filo just faded slightly, but does finish in 4th in 58.84. So keep an eye on the time for Rutia Silva in the next heat. But Thomas Toth, man in very good form, medalist yesterday. The Hungarians hoping for another medal today from this man. Here's Yamada and Thomas Toth. Decent time for him. He went out very fast. And this is Thomas Toth, an arm disability. Of course, the S9 class, a mixture of kind of one limb affected, either the arm or the leg.
Yeah, and he'll use the great underwater that he's got from that 100 backstroke last night in this race as well, to get as much of an advantage as possible over those guys with a leg impairment.
Thomas Toth takes that one. The first 4 swimmers in 58 seconds. Victor Scody with an African record. Second heat sees Brendan Hall, fresh from his victory in the 100 backstroke yesterday. He goes in lane 4. Brendan Hall goes in lane number 4, but
Take your marks.
Jose Maria Alcaraz from Spain not taking the start in lane number 5. The Spaniard, who thought may well be a challenger here in lane number 5, not taking the start, so that's kind of opened things up here. Skalut from Russia started well in lane number 3. Brendan Hall, though, with the yellow cap back in the pool that he got the bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games last year, here but almost exactly a year ago, and he leads them into the first 50.
Brendan Hall being in the lead at the first 50 will give him great confidence, because as a 400 freestyle world record holder, he knows he's got a strong second 50, and it looks like he's just going to look to control this race and get a good lane for the final tonight.
Got to be full of confidence after an unexpected victory in the 100 backstroke yesterday, and he looks very smooth indeed. It looks like he's going to be the fastest into the final. 57.40 for Brendan Hall. Skaliuk had a good swim, the Russian, 57.53. He's in second. Leo Latinmäki from Finland in 3rd position, 58.72, the sprint specialist from Finland. And here's David Taylor from Barbados finishing here. He was the only Barbadian athlete in the Paralympic Games in Beijing in 2008. And David Taylor, happy to promote the Paralympic movement in the developing countries here. And we've seen a lot of wildcards coming in, swimming at these championships. It's great to see.
I think it's great for the Paralympic movement that more and more countries are sending athletes to competitions like this, and hopefully going back and inspiring the disabled people within their nation.
Brendan Hall takes that one. There's Latinmäki and Brendan Hall. See that, the above knee amputee, single leg amputee, made his name as a distance man, a 400 freestyler, moved to the hundreds at these championships, and you would not bet against him taking a 2nd gold tonight in the final. Brendan Hall takes that one, 57.40, 10th of a second ahead of Skaliuk of Russia. Ellie Cole back in the water again. World record breaker yesterday. Goes in the 100 freestyle in lane 4.
Take your marks.
Ellie Cole won a surprise 100 freestyle gold medal at the London 2012 Paralympic Games, but since then and since her shoulder reconstructions, she's actually found that freestyle is really the only stroke that she can perform properly, and she's been working really hard on the plyometrics, because as a leg amputee, she is losing out on the starts, and she knows that against the arm amputees, so she wants to make sure that she's minimising the disadvantages she gets, and she seems to have done that by turning first here.
Her surgery didn't seem to affect her backstroke yesterday. We saw that world record mark in the heats for the backstroke. We saw it beaten again in the final. Ellie Cole is a swimmer on fire. The world record for this one is held by the great South African, the dominant South African, Natalie du Toit, and that has been held since 2008 at 1:01.08. It's going to be tough for Ellie Cole to challenge that, but she's well away in the front of the field. Ellie Cole takes that one ahead of Nuria Marquez Soto, who's also a medalist in the backstroke yesterday. And in third position, Hannah Aspden of the USA, 106.14. Ellen Keane, who will be swimming in the breaststroke a little bit later, is easing in there in the outside lane. Ellie Cole will take that one comfortably. 103.20. Marquez Soto and Aston.
Ellie Cole had such a strong London 2012 that it was a difficult decision for her to take the time out to have the shoulder reconstructions, and she didn't actually know she was ever going to come back, but she's actually returned to the pool with a new coach in Nathan Doyle, a stronger swimmer than she's ever been before, and she can't have imagined that this meet was going to start off as the way that it has done.
She is looking very good, Ellie Cole. She wins that one, 103.20. Michelle Concoli from USA in the centre lane next to Sarai Gascon, the world record holder for the 50 freestyle. Michelle Concoli from the USA.
Take your marks.
A relative newcomer to the Paralympic programme, Liz. See what she can do here.
Yeah, this is our first glimpse of Michelle Concoli on a world stage. She did actually compete at the Pan Pacific Championships last year and posted American records there and has gone from strength to strength. She was a college swimmer in Georgetown University at Washington, D.C. before she unfortunately fell out of her bedroom dorm window while she was trying to open it, and it resulted in a paralysis of her back, but she's done so well with her rehabilitation to recover now, and her impairment these days is that her ankles are fused, which makes her an S9 swimmer.
And she's behind Sarai Gascon there. As I said, Sarai Gascon, the 50-metre world record holder. No surprise that she was out fast. Also a multi-Paralympic medalist, but what strength here from Michelle Concoli from the USA. And she is coming away very strongly in the closing stages here. Maybe not quite as fast as Ellie Cole, but not much in it at all. 103.30. Well, just a tenth of a second separating the times for the first two heats there. Sarai Gascon was in second position in 105.26, and Tully Kearney in third place for the GB team.
That'll be a really exciting race this evening, and Sarai Gascon has the ability to be in the mix as well, because she's got 2 seconds that she's able to drop to get to her London 2012 personal best time.
She just turned on the power there down the second 50. Sarai Gascon looks like she's going backwards there, but great strength for Concoli. Green suit here, stretching for the finish. She's got a little bit more, I think.
That largely comes down to her looking so strong at the end, largely comes down to the whole leg impairment versus arm impairment, and Sarai Gascon would have got her benefits off the start and the turn, and the people with two really strong arms are really able to get hold of the water.
Concoli takes that second heat ahead of Gascon, and she progresses to the final in second position behind Ellie Cole. Nura Marcos Soto and Gascon, the two Spaniards, in third and fourth.
News in from Twitter. Jude Handley, one of Charlotte Henshaw's best friends, is putting down to her European record form, down to Glenn Smith's luminous yellow t-shirt in the crowd. So I don't know if we can get you a glimpse of that at some point today.
Just remember, send those Twitter messages into us. Glasgow2015.com. You can follow IPC.swimming on Twitter and send your messages with hashtag Glasgow2015.
There is the lucky yellow t-shirt, and hopefully I'll catch up with him at lunchtime and tell him to leave that on for this evening.
Charlotte Henshaw did a great job, didn't she? But you just can't legislate for these young swimmers coming out of the woodwork.
That seems to happen a lot in that classification. There's the Cashmore crowd and Rachel Latham, Kate Gray, two former Paralympic swimmers for Great Britain. So
they love
I'm
it,
sure
don't
they can
these
get
two?
up and do a dance for us if we end up much further behind. Claire's sister Emma there, she'll happily join it.
What's happened to Latham's trousers? Been an accident.
I know, eh? I think they saw her coming in the store.
The men's 100 breaststroke. Carlos Serrano Zarate from Colombia in lane 4. Matthew Levy, medalist yesterday. He goes in lane 5. Well, there is Carlos Serrano Zarate in the zone. Matthew Levy will be hoping to go better. And the silver medal he won yesterday, another silver medal for the Australian.
Yeah, that gold still eluding him, the individual gold medal, but he'll be up against it today from his compatriot Blake Cochrane.
Splozinski in lane number 7. Shall see how Carlos Serrano Zarate goes in this one. He has got fast qualification time.
Rudy Garcia Tolson there, back in the water after a few years out from London 2012.
He's doing athletics, Rudy Garcia Tolson. I think he competed in athletics in both the Paralympic in London 2012, swimming and athletics.
He did indeed.
Take your marks.
In a range of starts there, we saw a nice little start for Victor Kemery. He was a bit slow off the blocks there, but it is Serrano Zarate from Colombia going into an early lead ahead of Matthew Levy.
Yes, this is our first viewing of Carlos Serrano Zarate on the world stage, and he'll be inspired earlier from Nelson Crispin's lightning breaststroke outing. So he'll be looking to match that and post a good time for the final, because Blake Cochrane in the second heat has dominated this event for the last 5 years.
It used to be the domain of Great Britain's Sasha Kindred until Blake Cochrane came along and started breaking the records. He's improved the world record this year, in fact, 1:16.84. We'll see him in the second heat, but Carlos Serrano Zarate is going really well here, and we'll keep an eye on the clock. Maybe not quite as fast as the world record time, but he is stretching away from Matt Levy, who is a medalist at the last World Championships. But it is going to be a very good time for the young Colombian swimmer, and he comes in 1:17.21. Well, that's a championship record, but not quite fast enough for the world record, but not far away at all. 0.3 of a second.
He'll be really happy with that. And he did tie up in the closing stages, but that'll just be inexperience on the international stage. Because he went out so fast, and breaststroke, it hurts you on that second 50 if you don't get the pacing quite right. So he'll be looking to rectify that for this evening's session.
Well, he's another youngster, only 16 years of age, the Colombian. But, my goodness, he went out there, Matthew Levy. Must wonder what he's going to do to get on top of that medal podium. He wouldn't have come in expecting a gold medal in this one, but he would want to be on the medal podium tonight, I'm sure. He was a distant second on that occasion, though. Behind the young man, Carlos Serrano Zarate.
Great powerful start there from Rudy Garcia Tolson's arms, but after the start it was all about this man. Carlos Serrano Zarate really took it to put down a marker for Blake Cochran for this evening. Got a great stroke, and it was very much arm driven. A lot of times the shorter guys benefit from a really good leg kick, but he was getting great height from that breaststroke, as we can see in this shot. And he'll be really pleased with how that went.
Well, we saw Nelson Crispin, previous heat for Colombia, and he won a few medals at the last World Championships, Nelson Crispin, but Colombia have won a handful of medals prior to that at the big events, and they've all been in breaststroke.
Yeah, and if he's got a breaststroke like that, it'll be great to see what he can go in the 200 individual medley later in the week.
Young man, we keep seeing these youngsters come out of the woodwork. It's a good thing, but it's frustrating for the old timers, though, isn't it?
It is one of the things with Paralympic sport, is that you can find an athlete at any age, and you get some youngsters coming in, and they just lap up this environment. And especially a lot of the South American countries, they're used to training in not the best pools, so they come to an environment like this, and all of a sudden they've got good lane ropes and no waves to go against, so they can really put out their best performances.
Carlos Serrano Zarate confirmed in first position in that heat in 1:17.21, a championship record. Matthew Levy in second, Rudy Garcia Tolson in third, Nakamura from Japan in fourth position, the Paralympic silver medalist.
Great to see Rudy Garcia Tolson there, posting pretty much close to his best time after 2 years out, and he will look to make another Paralympic Games. He got a bronze medal in this event in Beijing in 2008, but he's actually better known for his 200 individual medley swimming, and he does a lot of cross training, as you said, because he was one of probably the only athletes that gets to compete in two sports at the same games. And in London 2012, when he competed in the T42 100 and 200, because that will really help. He really one day wants to go to the para triathlon.
The start list for heat number 2 sees the world record holder, Blake Cochran, in lane number 4. Will these swimmers come out, Liz? Will they have been aware of what that first heat has done? Will Blake Cochran have looked at Carlos Serrano Zarate?
He will have had a screen in that core room, and he will definitely, well, it'll be his choice. He would have been able to see what Carlos Serrano Zarate did if he wanted to, but how he responds to that, he's a professional guy, he's been around a long time, and he'll be coming here expecting to post a good heat time anyway, so he didn't break the world record, so he'll be happy, I think, for now, but concerned.
And would you have looked if you were in that second heat? Would you have kept an eye on that first heat, see what you had to do?
You always keep an eye on the first heat, because you need to know how much effort you need to put in just to get a lane in the final, because you actually got an advantage where you don't have to expend maximum energy.
We shall see what Blake Cochran does. What are going to be the tactics of Cochran? What are going to be the tactics of the European record holder, Simon Boer from the Netherlands? He's been on good form. He would have been expecting that he would be the man to challenge Blake Cochran. Maybe he will be. There's a new man on the scene from that first heat. There's Zheng Tao, known as the swimmer with no arms.
Take your mark.
He is officially the swimmer with no arms.
He is, and
he
he'll
has
have a
claimed
great
that title.
start. Look at that, and he will maximise that. The Chinese have a great reputation for 100 breaststroke in this event, and they actually won gold in 1996 in Atlanta with a similar breaststroker with no arms, Byron Gong. But it's all about Blake Cochran here.
Well, just keep an eye on the split there. We saw Carlos Serrano Zarate go out in 35.57 and did tie up a little when he came back there, and Blake Cochran a little bit slower there, 36.80 there at the turn. Simon Boer, again, swimmer with lower leg disabilities. Blake Cochran, is he affected in all four limbs?
Yeah, he's actually missing part of it, both hands and both feet. So breaststroke, that puts him into the SB7 classification, but he's an S8 for all of the other strokes. And he's really learnt to make the most of the paddles that he has available to him, and he'll be controlling this race through the experience that he has.
He certainly looks like he's in control of this heat here. Blake Cochran into the red markers, 5 metres to go. Maybe not going to be as fast as the first heat, but he is pretty comfortable in 1:18.52. Simon Boer in 1:19.24 in second position. That's not too far away, half a second outside his own European record. Blake Cochran comfortably in first position there. Bohdan Franenko, saw him in the relay yesterday. He is in third position in that heat.
Those 3 swimmers that have made it into the into the final, barring any disqualifications, they really have contrasting strokes, so it'll make for an exciting race this evening.
There's Julian Bahada from Malta in lane number 1. Malta, of course, the venue for the first IPC World Championships back in 1994. There are still, believe it or not, a few swimmers from that first World Championships taking place here in Glasgow. The only man that has done them all is Sasha Kindred. There's 2 other women, 2 other Hungarians that have done all the ones. So 7 World Championships under their belt. Malta is where it all started for IPC World Champs.
Blake Cochran looking relaxed, looking happy. He doesn't seem too concerned, and he'll be looking forward to the competition later this afternoon.
Simon Boer will be challenging for the medals tonight. Bohdan Franenko, all smiles all round.
Yeah, I think that will raise. They'll be pleased, I guess, that Carlos Serrano Zarate was able to post such a fast time, because it will have allowed them to really assess how much effort they wanted to put in and how quickly they wanted to go and have a good top 3 race this evening.
Cochran looking pretty relaxed there. He has set the world record this year. He knows he's capable of doing that again tonight. Boer not too far away from that. Surveys the scene as he leaves the arena. Cochran takes that second heat. Simon Boer from the Netherlands in second position, just half a second outside his own European record. Qualifiers for the final this evening. Carlos Serrano Zarate, fastest with a championship record, 1:17.21. The first heat of the women's 100 breaststroke SB7. Lisa Den Braber from the Netherlands in the centre lane, lane 4. Here's Lisa Den Braber, Netherlands swimmer, medalist at the major championships, silver medalist in the last World Championships in Montreal. She'll be hoping to go one better here. There's Veronica Almeida from Brazil, 40 years of age now, can she do in lane number 5 next to Dembrava?
The Brazilians that seem to have a range of ages. They've got a lot of older, more developed swimmers that have been. Clodoaldo Silva has been he went to Sydney in 2000 and he's still performing. And Veronica Almeida, she's moved on in this event over the last couple of years.
Interesting start styles here being employed. Lisa Dembrava
Take your marks.
making use of that backboard.
She'll be up and straight into her stroke because she won't get so much from the underwater phase, and we'll look for her now to start powering through fairly early on, and by the turn she would be good. But Tess Redcliffe is a young Canadian who's been making massive gains in the last 18 months, and you can't rule her out to sneak into the final and test the podium places.
So the Canadian just being overtaken now. Lisa Dembrava ahead of Sarah Meehan. Veronica Almeida going well there with the blue cap of Brazil. It's unusual not to see a fluorescent yellow cap.
Definitely makes them easy to spot when they're wearing yellow, but actually Ruti's compatriot Sarah Meehan, who's slightly more experienced, she'll be looking to also make the final so that the Canadians have double representation into that final. But this is really Lisa Dembrava now pulling away, though I don't expect that she would have thought Veronica Almeida would have been quite as close to her as she is.
There's 2 heats in this one. Second heat still to come. We've got 11 swimmers, so they've got to drop just 3 from the 2 heats. So the swimmers there, the top 3, look like they are going to be safe for the final. Lisa Dembrava, Netherlands had a good competition so far. 2 breaststroke gold medals yesterday. Lisa Dembrava trying to follow up with another one here, and she should be safely into the final with 135.75. Just a couple of seconds outside her best time, followed on by Almeida and Sarah Meehan in 3rd position.
That'll be a comfortable swim for Lisa Dembrava, and she'll be saving as much energy to take the battle to the very strong, very established Jessica Long this evening.
She has a similar disability to Jessica Long, double lower leg amputee.
Yeah, and she will have watched Jessica, and that'll be a lot of how she's benefited and improved so much over the years, because you've got someone who's leading the world as much as Jessica Long is. You can learn from the best.
It's always good. We've seen people like Matthew Cowdery and Natalie Dutoy in the past. Great role models for young swimmers to follow. Jessica Long too, obviously been a role model for Lisa Dembrava. Looking very good coming into the end there. Not quite finishing on a full extension, but not bad. Lisa Dembrava will take that one, 135.75. Sarah Meehan in 2nd. We do have a disqualification. Veronica Almeida, the Brazilian, disqualified in that first heat. Jessica Long does go in this 2nd heat. Watch out for Oksana Krul in lane number 5, the Ukrainian.
There she is, the great Jessica Long. Her world record stands from 2012, so she'll be looking to try and better that today.
Here's Oksana Krul. She dominated the butterfly event in this class. Swimmer Oksana Krul in 5. She'll swim with no use of her arms. Swims with the arms straight out in front. Oksana Krul, so she does on the butterfly. We'll see her at the start there. Oksana Krul, yeah, keeping the arms out in front with the blue cap there. Jessica Long in a decent position there after the start.
She'll be happy with that start, because you would have expected Oksana Krul to really maximise her leg power off the block. But Jessica Long, she is a phenomenally strong athlete, and the height that she gets for a double leg amputee really makes the difference. And she actually uses a lot of her underwater stroke like she would on butterfly. And obviously she's dominated that event for years.
There's Tess Rupliff in the same lane as Sarah Meehan was, her compatriot in the previous heat. Jess Long going out ahead. And it's very close for second. Oksana Krul and Tess Rupliff. Very tight between those two. But Jessica Long looking very, very good. She won the 100 fly yesterday. Not happy with the time though.
No, Jessica Long always sets the barrier so high for herself, and she did a really good 18-month block of work with Bob Bowman in Michael Phelps' training program, and we saw she lowered all the world records in the non-Paralympic events of the longer distances. So she would expect to come into this meet with a lot of endurance and benefit from that. So that'll be why she was a little bit disappointed not to push that world record on in the 100 fly.
Well, she is the world record holder. 128.53, as you can see from your screen. It's 133.1 at the moment, 133.12. Tess Rupliff. Oh, you picked it, Liz. Good spot.
So she's been really developing over the last 18 months, and in this event, the gold and silver you would think would be between Jessica Long and Lisa Dumbrava, but that third spot on the podium is really up for grabs. So a lot of these swimmers, their bronze is their gold medal in this event, and it's a great incentive ahead of Rio 2016.
Well, that's a good improvement by Tess Rupliff. 138.05 for the Canadian. Jessica Long takes that one. Looked pretty comfortable. 133.12. Tess Rupliff there. And good improvement there. Must be a lifetime best for Tess Rupliff.
Yeah, I think she was her best was she was creeping towards that 140 barrier, and it's really a mark in the SB6, SB7 classification. If you can get under the 140, 100 seconds, you feel like you're on your way. Jessica Long is such a great stroke technician, and she's got such a busy program this week that she'll be looking to come in and swim heats as easily as she can to conserve as much energy for the final, because she's a key component in the relays.
I think she's on every day, Jess Long, if I'm right in saying. Won 9 gold medals in the World Championships back in 2006. Can she repeat that? Well, it's going to be tough to do. At the USA, she'll feature in their relay teams, I'm sure. So it may well be possible for Jess Long.
She is a phenomenal talent, and she's really made a difference to Paralympic sport in America.
I'm still waiting the official result for that one. The swimmers for the next heats are coming out for the next event. It's the women's 100 freestyle in the S3 classification. Another Netherlands swimmer in the centre lane. Zet Teunissen next to Olga Swiderska. There's Swiderska. She is the world record holder in 137.58. But Lizette Teunissen is a swimmer who is top of the world rankings this year. She has set world records in the S3 class in the backstroke earlier this year. Can she do something in this 100 freestyle?
The Dutch really have got a new Lisa. Miriam de Koning-Pepper was the star of that team for so long, but now they have some youngsters, and they're all pulling their weight and winning the medals and really moving Paralympic sport forward in the Netherlands.
Well, the Dutch were always very strong when I was swimming. They always had some great rivalries with the Dutch team, and instead they went through a little bit of a dip, but they always had their stars there. But they've got a number of great swimmers here. We saw them be on top of the podium twice yesterday. They'll be hoping for more today. Remember, send your tweets in to Liz. She's all over Twitter. IPC at IPC Swimming. Hashtag Glasgow 2014.
15. You're a year behind.
I am. I'm still on Commonwealth Games 2014. It's these signs around here.
That's why I can't find any of the Twitter mentions, because they're hashtagging the wrong year.
Right, go on, Liz. You get all over Twitter. Go on. Glasgow2015.com. IPC-swimming.org. And like IP Swimming on Facebook. At IP Swimming on Twitter. Hashtag Glasgow 2015. How's that, Johnson?
Better.
Thank you.
A lot of support coming in for that Charlotte Henshaw's European record there. I think her friends, she's always had a good friendship group supporting her, and they'll be watching tonight.
Any support for Glenn's bright t-shirt?
Glenn's bright t-shirt seems to be a hit.
Hashtag Glenn's bright t-shirt. Was a disqualification in that last heat. Doesn't affect the top 3 places. Jessica Long will progress to the final in first position ahead of Lisa Denbraber and Tish Rootcliffe. Great support here. I'm not sure which country that was. A booming voice from the crowd. Lizette Toyneson, centre lane. Anke Conradi, another veteran swimmer who swam in that initial World Championships back in 1994. Range of starts here, Liz. Very interesting in this S3 class.
Yeah, and again, we'll see, like with the men yesterday, we'll see some on the front and some swimming backstroke, because it's really, there's a dolphin kick going on in lane 8, and it's really about maximising and getting the most out of your impairment.
We talked briefly about Zet Toyneson, the Netherlands swimmer, Olga Zviderska, the world record holder, Sofia Gabidulina. Well, she is someone who may well challenge the world record times too. Kazakhstan swimmer in lane number 3. Toyneson looking very good, very smooth technique. Toyneson there at the front of the field.
She's a great technician, and swiftly around those walls, and she's off again, and she didn't lose much time against her competitors right there.
She has a aggressive condition. Toyneson, she has swum a few years ago as an S5, moved down to an S4. Her condition is worsening, and she has been classified as an S3 now. Just see the impairment there in her hands and her lower arms. She's getting nothing at all from her legs there, but she's really using all the abilities she had, and this is fantastic technique from Lizette Toyneson.
Yeah, she'll really be someone that works on her shoulder stability, because really that's where she's propelling the water from, because as you said, her hands don't open, so she can't use a paddle to push the water, and as she comes into the finish on a full stroke, you'll see that those arms are really what stabilise her through the water.
Well, she wins that one comfortably, 141.10. Olga Zviderska in second, and Sofia Gabidulina in third place. This heat was 9 swimmers in this one. We only have to drop 1 for the top 8 to progress to the final.
Coming into your shot now, it's actually really close for that final spot between Anke Conradi and the Mexican swimmer, Aceves Perez, who's going to get, looks like the younger swimmer's just edging ahead in lane 8 there. But it's going to come down to the touch.
Well, Anke Conradi with the long arms there. It's the head of Aceves Perez. Oh, I think just gets in ahead. had Zet Turnison at 141.10. Olga Swiderska. There's Gabdulina, the Kazakhstan representative, won Kazakhstan's first World Championship medals in Montreal in 2013. Those lanes 0 and 1 bathed in sunshine here in Glasgow, in sunny Glasgow. Can't say that very often.
I know, I don't think you'll want to be drawn in lane 0 or lane 1 at the moment, because it completely changes the perspective that the swimmer has in the water. But Lizette Denison had no problems there in lane 4. She's definitely in the shade.
Very happy with her performance this morning, Lizette Turnison. She takes the heat. Olga Swiderska in second, Gabdulina in third, and those top 8 will qualify for the final. Four swimmers in the first heat of the men's 400 freestyle S11. Swimmers coming out for this first heat, the men's 400 S11 class. There is 2 heats of this one, 4 in this first heat. This again is for swimmers who have no vision. They will be wearing blacked out goggles. There is Israel Oliver, Olympian from 2004, 2008 and 2012. And a gold medal at the World Championships in 2013. There's Taryn Drake from the USA. Hoping to dip under the 5-minute mark. It's a Portuguese swimmer, Amadeus Cruz.
Take your marks.
Sergio Zayas from Argentina goes in lane number 3 and banging into the lane rope straight away there, the Argentinian in lane 3.
Yeah, that will definitely have slowed him down, and actually probably take a little bit of time to just refocus, because it's always a bit of a shock to bump into the lane rope, but he looks to have recovered well, and he won't want to be doing that again in the next 8 lengths.
We have seen at these championships the swimmers going to the final, you have to swim 8 lanes in the final, so we have seen just one heat sometimes with 9 or 10 swimmers in it, so we have to drop just 1 or 2 swimmers. But in the case of the S11 class, they cannot swim here in the outside lanes, so we couldn't have had a heat of 9 because the S11 swimmers have got to be on both, they have ropes at both sides, so as you can see they can't they use the lane rope sometimes to feel their way down the lane. So if you don't have a lane rope on the outside, it's not going to be very easy. You might certainly in this deck level pool and swim right out of the pool.
Yeah, and that could actually be very painful and maybe impede the rest of their competition. So it's definitely the safer way to do this. And Israel Oliver stamping his authority here and pulling away, as we would expect. He'll be looking forward to a head-to-head with Bradley Schneider tonight in the final, providing they both get through safely, because Brad wasn't actually at the World Championships. So it'll be good. It's always good to race the best.
We'll see how Spanish swimmer goes here. Certainly a swimmer of high quality. He's just hugging the lane ropes there. Sometimes I feel the S11 swimmers, they do use the lane ropes for guidance, but sometimes you just feel that they're so close to the lane ropes, it's very difficult to, once you're on the lane ropes, to get away from them.
It often depends on the shape of their bodies, and I know that the best way that they try to do it is actually have their the muscle just under their armpit brushing against the lane rope every few strokes as reassurance that they're still going in a straight line. The problem comes, as we see with the turn there, where they have one side that they prefer to brush up against the lane rope, because then they have to, when they turn, go across the lane, which actually probably adds about half a metre every 100.
See there, he does tend to have his right hand side alongside the lane rope. Doesn't seem to be impeding him too much, maybe just brushing that yellow lane rope as he's going across here. Coming up now to the 250 mark. You see the tappers there. It's different kind of lengths of tapping sticks for the different countries. Each country seems to have their own style. I think the Scandinavian tapping sticks and the Baltic states were massive big I don't know if there is a limit actually.
I think the longest you can have it is to the flags, but actually, and you do see, like you said, some of the European nations do, and the Scandinavians do have the longer poles, but then they lose control, the tappers lose control, and then that impacts on the way that the swimmer then comes into the wall and the speed that they come in.
Well, I suppose sighted swimmers, they will use the backstroke flags, for example. So you know, if you go under the backstroke flags, you know exactly how many strokes you have till you get to the finish. So I suppose the tap is something very similar. So you've just got to, what is the best for you? Do you get tapped 5 meters out, for example, or do you get tapped on your last stroke so you can react very quickly?
Many of the swimmers actually use a white cane similar to the ones that they'll use in their daily life, with a sponge ball on the end, and that allows you more accuracy, because then you can be hitting a specific spot on your body. Some prefer there as your head, others prefer it to be their back. But when you've got a long beam pole that's going 5 meters, you lose the ability to hit that spot, and then that can take the swimmer by surprise sometimes.
And freestyle is relatively easy to tap, I think, because the head is sticking out of the water. If you go on backstroke, when your arms potentially are crossing over your head, it's going to make it a lot more difficult.
The tappers have got massive responsibility, because also they need to make sure that they don't mess it up. And here coming into the finish, nice easy swim for him this morning, Israel Oliver. He'll be happy with that. It's a comfortable lead that obviously he won't know about, because the tappers aren't actually allowed to communicate with swimmers now until they're out and had their goggles checked. So he'll have to just sit and wait and see what time he went.
Here's Israel Oliver and Taron Drake. Well, Taron Drake did close up a little there in the closing stages there, the American. Sergio Zayas, after that slightly out of line start there for the Argentinian, recovered well in a time of 5:18. So Israel Oliver takes it 5:02.17, Taron Drake 5:05.99, and Sergio Zayas 5:18.05. So we have Amadei Cruz from Brazil, in fact from Portugal. Brazil, well, they do speak
They speak the same
Portuguese,
language,
don't they? Brazilians. And here he comes now in a time of 6:16.45 was his entry time. He might be inside that. Yeah, 6:12.60 for the Portuguese swimmer. That's given himself a chance to make the final. Israel Oliver, though, he will be there. 5:02.17. Those swimmers will be having their blacked out goggles checked before the result is official. Oh dear, Israel Oliver did go a little bit too far across the lane rope there. Nice tap there tap on the back of the head, an immediate turn. He stretches for the finish there. There is a result. Oh, and there is a disqualification there. Taron Drake, who came up very strongly on the closing stages there, has been disqualified. Well, not sure what that is for. Well, that will mean that all of these swimmers, if they avoid disqualification, will qualify for the final this evening. They probably will not be aware of that. Bradley Schneider goes in 4.
There is Bradley Schneider, fresh off his speedy 100 freestyle last night, and if he's obviously got that speed, let's hope he's got the endurance.
He looks in great shape. Matias Sousa, the Brazilian, and Ibrashev from Kazakhstan there. These swimmers with no vision at all. And there's a Lithuanian, Vigilatis in lane number 2. Zalewski goes in lane number 3 for Ukraine. Schneider,
Take your mark.
the favourite for this one. Sousa using a different cap and goggles today.
Yeah, his goggles are matching his hat there. He's obviously decided that last night the Brazilians were so successful with their bright yellow hats that maybe there's something in it. And he's actually going out pretty well here and staying with Schneider, though Schneider's stroke's looking a lot more relaxed than Matias Sousa's at this point.
I just wonder if they will be aware of that first heat. It probably wouldn't really concern them too much, because you would think that the two leaders certainly would be very, very confident of making the final here. Just one swimmer to be dropped from the 2 heats. We've already had a disqualification, so that has been sorted out. So let's hope there's no more disqualifications as the top 2 ease away from the rest of the field. Sousa appears to be working a little bit harder than Schneider. Schneider looking a little bit more comfortable, and Sousa and Schneider look like they are going to be side by side here as they both hug the lane ropes on the different side of the lanes.
Yeah, Bradley Schneider definitely had the better turn then, and it took Matias Sousa a little more time to find that lane rope. And that's basically the difference between the body length that Bradley Schneider has managed to pull away. But actually Brad just then lost the lane rope and switched across to the other side, so that will have cost him a bit of time.
Different lengths on the tapping sticks as well. Different positions on the body there. I noticed that Sousa seems to be a little bit further down. His body was getting the tap.
Sometimes that will just come down to what stroke they're coming into the wall on, and the tapper can only manage to reach the head or the back. But each swimmer, as we said in the first heat, will have a preference of which part of the body they would like to be tapped on.
Schneider coming down to the halfway mark. These swimmers with no vision at all. Absolutely superb technicians here. They have to be, just try this. You go back to your club and swim with your eyes closed, or pull your goggles down and pull your cap down in front of your goggles and see how it feels to swim with absolutely no vision at all. Very, very difficult. These guys make it look easy.
It really is a skill, an additional skill that sighted swimmers could benefit from, and you notice a difference between those athletes who were born with their impairment and those that have acquired it over time, because they've got different ways of learning and different picture memories that they can access, and that's really evident in the strokes that are performed. We've actually got a backstroke that's going to come into shot as Bradley Schneider comes past. And you don't know he's turned onto his front now, so you're not going to see him doing backstroke.
Commentators curse there for
Quiet.
this. Let's look at this. Oh, and it doesn't. That's Bradley Schneider coming down to 300 mark. Looking pretty good indeed. The world record held by John Morgan, who was a USA national swimmer back in the 1980s before he had an accident in which he lost his sight, and he established a number of the world records for this class, the S11 class, B1 as it was known at that time. And John Morgan still holds some of the records. We saw that record last night in 100 freestyle that Bradley Schneider just got very close to, just a tenth of a second outside. And Bradley Schneider, of course, recently lost his vision too in an accident in 2011.
Yeah, and then actually won the gold medal on the year anniversary of him losing his sight at the London 2012 Paralympic Games in this event. So it was a very emotional moment for him, especially his family and all of the US Paralympic team.
He's going to win this one, and he's going to win it well. And we do have David Leightus in the top lane as Bradley Schneider finishes. Here we go, Liz, there's your backstroking swimmer there in lane number 2.
Yep, going into his last 100 metres now, and he's stayed on his back for this one, so I don't know if that was planned before the race.
Well, Bradley Schneider has touched first. Matthias Sousa in 4:56 in second position. Zalewski in 5:07 was his entry time. Is he inside that? Not quite. 5:15 for Zalewski of Ukraine. He is in third position. And still have 2 swimmers in the water. Ibrashev from Kazakhstan coming through in lane number 6 here. So here's Ibrashev. His entry time was 5:46. Not sure if he's going to be inside that. Should check. 5:43 is inside that. Well done. By 3 seconds.
There's my backstroker, proving that I wasn't making it up, and he'll be looking actually to make the final now with that earlier disqualification in the first heat. So maybe he's decided to conserve as much energy as possible to try and get a best time this evening.
Very possibly. David Leightus, maybe he didn't expect to make the final at all. Maybe he's just conserving his energy for later events, but might be in for a surprise, because with that disqualification he is going to make the final here, unless he himself is DQ'd. Lithuanians have had a medal at the World Championships before, back in 2006. David Leightus, the Lithuanians swimmer, finishes now in 6:38. It's not too far behind his best time ever, 6:27.
No, and you can imagine if he'd done it all on freestyle, he would have been close.
I'm sure he would have been. Well, he's going to have another chance tonight in the final, but Bradley Schneider is going to be challenging for another gold medal. And he looks supreme, doesn't he, Bradley Schneider?
He's such a great technician, and he actually got a new championship record in that race. And he's built for the 400 freestyle, because he actually did a lot of triathlon before entering the US Paralympic swim program.
We have star of US Paralympic swimming. Number of big names here. Bradley Schneider is one of the biggest stars of all. Been led away there by the tapper. Schneider takes that one. Championship record in 4:41.30. Matthias Sousa in second position. And they will be the top 2 into the final, with Israel Oliver in third position. I expect they will go significantly faster in tonight's final.
The Americans will be really pleased to see how well Bradley Schneider has come back into the the international arena after that break after London 2012, because you never quite know how classifications and events are going to move on. But a year out from Rio 2016, he'll have more confidence than ever, don't you think?
Well, he should do, because he looks in great shape, absolutely. His 100 freestyle was absolutely fantastic last night. I thought that long-standing record was going to go there. It stood since 1986. So that is the longest standing world record in the books. There's the
Duncan Cashmore studying the start list, no doubt.
Here's a look back to what we've seen a little bit earlier. There's Bradley Schneider coming in for that turn.
Breathing out of the turn though, Paul. He could maybe save a bit of time there this evening.
It's in the early stages there when Sousa was still trying to stay on turns, but just went away. That was the 100 turn, wasn't it? When he came off that turn and just pulled away from the Brazilian.
Yeah, this was really the last time, the last 100 metres that Matheus Sousa remained in the same shot as Bradley Schneider, but he'll be looking to go a little bit faster this evening.
Well, you know the Brazilian team well. He was very pleased with that medal that he won yesterday.
Yeah, the Brazilians had a fantastic evening last night. Carlos Fahrenberg as well, also a visually impaired swimmer, getting a medal in the S13 classification. So they'll be excited ahead of the home Paralympic Games next year.
Schneider obviously listening to the announcers here in Tollcross. Punch in the air there. He's very pleased with that one.
That is one of the benefits of the visually impaired swimmers of finishing that far ahead, is that you actually get to hear the announcers say your time, because as I mentioned earlier, otherwise they have no way of knowing how well they've swum until they're out of the water.
I suppose it is an advantage as well to be an English speaker here. The announcer obviously here in Glasgow.
Especially with the Scottish accents.
Not much wrong with Scottish accents, over. Welsh maybe?
They're hard to tune into, aren't they, as Celts?
It speaks the Welsh girl.
I know it. What have they done? What were they thinking, putting us in charge?
I know. Keep sending your messages on Twitter. See if I can get this right. At IPC Swimming. Hashtag Glasgow 2015. Follow IPC Swimming on Twitter. IPC-swimming.org. Liz is all over it. She's going to be reading out some messages soon.
Oh, another one for Charlotte Henshaw. She is definitely leading the way in the Twitter supporters club. Her strength and conditioning coach base, one athlete, great swim from Charlotte Henshaw GB to set another PB and European record in the SB6 at hashtag Glasgow 2015. Going to be an exciting final.
Certainly will be. We've seen some good races this morning. There's Team USA, one of the supporters there.
This must fast be becoming one of Charlotte Henshaw's favourite pools. European record 2 weeks ago, European record again. She'll be looking to beat that again this evening, and we are in for an exciting race.
As a result for the women's 200 metres individual medley SM13, which we saw earlier today, Rebecca Myers from USA with a championship record 229.32, with Stitsenko in second position and Bera in third in heat number 3. Progressing to the women's 200 metres individual medley final, Rebecca Myers, Anna Stitsenko, Hannah Russell, Daraya Stukalova. They are the top 4.
They'll all be looking to drop some time tonight. And Colleen Young had that fantastic breaststroke leg. She'll be looking to capitalise on it this evening.
Well, a little bit of a delay, I think.
Tully Kearney's mum. Hopefully she's sending a tweet to your hashtag Glasgow 2015.
Well, hopefully. Everyone's tweeting now. Look at that. There's the Estonians. That's Elizabeth Egel on the left.
Great name.
And Cardo Plumitu on the right there with the white glasses. Do you know what Plumitu means in
I
Estonian?
do not, but I feel that you're about to tell me.
Plum tree.
Really?
I see you're completely underwhelmed with that fact.
Great S10 100-metre backstroker.
Well, we are just being told that we do have a withdrawal from the event which is about to come, which was the women's 400 freestyle S11. And as there was only 9 in the 2 heats, that has now progressed to a straight final. So that is what we have this delay for. There's no heats of the women's 400 freestyle S11, so now we have to wait for the appointed start times of the other ones as we move on to the men's 200 metres individual medley SM10 next. Hannah Russell's dad.
Yep, with his camera at the ready. A big supporter of Hannah. Always comes to all of the international meets.
Men's 200 individual medley SM10. The first heat sees Denis Dubrov, European champion, in the centre lane. Well, as you said earlier, Liz, there is appointed start times for each of the heats. The swimmers will have done their preparation based on that start time. You kind of work back from your start time to your warm-up to all your preparation that you have.
Yeah, and these boys will have had to be in the call room 20 minutes before their allotted start time, so they couldn't go earlier because some of them wouldn't have been there, and it wouldn't be fair.
Sven Kastiker from Belgium. Experienced Belgian. A big hope for the Belgian team for a medal. Denis Dubrov from Ukraine. It's another one that was an able-bodied swimmer and is now being classified in the SM10 class. Came into the SM10 class last year and took the European title, time of 2:15.
Rick Pendleton there, recently married and had a child since London 2012, so he's in a good place in his life, and that's reflecting in his swimming as he's found some recent form.
He was the champion from Beijing. Kind of a surprise victory probably at that time in Beijing in 2008. See what he can do against Denis Dubrov. Watch out for Olivier van der Voort too on the backstroke, the world record holder for the 100 back for the Netherlands in lane number 3. So I like the 200 individual medleys. 7:10 was my event back in the day. Not sure if I could live with these guys now though.
So the pace has moved on significantly, but the great thing is that they're all so good at different events. The lead changes hands so many times, and they're all pretty close together after that fly though.
We'll see if Van der Voort can move through on the backstroke leg, looking very, very comfortable there. The Netherlands swimmer, and as expected, he moves through the field. Very good indeed for the young Netherlands man. Van der Voort with clear lead, but not much to choose between the others now. Dubrov maybe in second, but Rick Pendleton should be strong in the breaststroke.
Yeah, Rick Pendleton's a great breaststroke swimmer, and the Australians rely on him in the relay a lot to pull them through. Olivier van der Voort might struggle on this breaststroke, but he's actually getting great height, and if the boys don't catch him here, I'm not sure they'll catch him before the end of the race.
Dubrov is going to be strong in the closing stages, a good freestyler, and he's holding on well on the breaststroke. Also going well, Sven de Kastilka is very close here. Luganenko from Russia in lane number 2, probably just in 5th position. But the 4 swimmers all closing up now, and Dubrov may well take the lead here as they come into the final turn. It is Dubrov by 0.1 of a second ahead of Van der Voort.
A sneaky look there from Dubrov over the wall, and we've been looking to eradicate that this evening. But these 4 all looking to swim within themselves. In fact, there's not much to separate between any of them, so they might need, those few tail-enders might need to pick up the pace to guarantee their spot in the final this evening.
Well, Dubrov just making sure that he's going to finish ahead of Van der Voort here. Dubrov will take that one in a time of 2:15.65. Pretty good time actually, not far away from the time that he set when he won the European title last year. Here's Dennis Dubrov. Good time for Olivier van der Voort, 2:16.10 in 2nd position. Rick Pendleton it was in 3rd, 2:17.10, and Sven de Kastilka in 2:17.92. So he will be looking at this second heat with interest. See if 2:17.92 will be enough to progress him to the final.
Yes, it's going to be an anxious wait for him, because even though that will have been a comfortable swim, then it's not definitely going to get him in. So he'll be sitting and watching this scoreboard from the swim down pool.
Dubrov there, just closing up on Van der Voort, the backstroker. Very close at that breaststroke to freestyle turn. Dubrov just keeping an eye on the young Dutchman. Dubrov 2:15.65 wins heat 1. Heat number 2, Benoit Huel, the world record holder.
Take your
Line
marks.
4. Can anyone challenge Benoit Huel in this one? He has dominated this event. Well, since the 2000 Paralympic Games in Sydney, only Rick Pendleton has taken a global title away from the Canadian.
Yeah, Benoit, who actually Beijing 2008 was probably his worst international, his only bad competition that he's ever had in his career, but he bounced back magnificently to then take the gold medal in London 2012 in a world record time. Because these guys are younger than him, but he's not having it all his own way at this point.
Well, good start there from Dmitry Grigorev, European record holder in 100 butterfly. Grigorev led them into that first 50 butterfly.
Kevin Paul's unluckily drawn that lane 1, and he's lane 2, sorry, and he's got the sun beating down on his face as he comes down on the backstroke. And he'll be glad to get this out of the way, because breaststroke is his favourite event. He's actually spent time in Europe doing the Mare Nostrum tours and then training in Italy ahead of this race. He's now moved down to Durban, and we'll look for him to move forward in this leg and then try and hold on to the leaders for the freestyle. Here comes Benoit Huel. And actually, his compatriot, Alec Elliott, he won't have been expecting that, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to see him from that angle. But here comes Kevin Paul, who now trains with Chad Leclos, the great Chad Leclos of South Africa able-bodied Olympic team.
Very much the breaststroke specialist, Kevin Paul, Paralympic champion in 100 breaststroke, and he's using that to lead this field into the final turn. Benoit Huel moved through into 2nd position. Alec Elliott, I'm sure Benoit will be aware of the talents of his young teammate here. He's in 3rd, but under pressure now by Dmytro Vanzenko from Ukraine. And Kevin Paul is holding on to the lead here. And Benoit Huel just looking very, very comfortable indeed, the Canadian. he's going to make sure that he's going to take this second heat, and he will win in a time of 2:15.60, just 5/100 separating the time from that of the first heat. Kevin Paul in second position, Van Zenko in third, and Alec Elliott, I think, may have done enough to get into the final in 2:19.06.
Kevin Paul's had a great season in the breaststroke, but Benoit Hu almost completely stopped. Then he went down so many gears. He was so comfortable on that freestyle, and he'll have a lot of time in him this evening.
He had a full beard the other day when I saw him. He's obviously shaved down a little bit there, Benoit.
He is renowned for his beard growing competitions during taper time.
He says he couldn't grow a big beard as he's done in the past because his partner doesn't let him.
Makes sense.
There's Benoit coming through there, looking very comfortable indeed. World record stands at 2:10.01. Wouldn't it be great if Benoit can just dip under that 2:10 mark? He would love that, I'm sure. Experienced man, made his first World Championship appearance back in 1998. Benoit Hu takes that heat number 2 ahead of Kevin Paul and Dmitro Van Zenko. There are the 8 qualifiers for tonight's final. Heat 1 of the women's 200 metres individual medley. Aurélie Rivard, the champion in 50 freestyle from last night, in lane 4. This is the SM10 class. We just saw the impairment there of Aurélie Rivard on that shot at the start there, just missing a hand. That's a big disadvantage in swimming against able-bodied swimmers.
Absolutely, you get so much from that paddle that your hand provides, which is why they make it with that impairment into the SM10 classification. This is pretty close butterfly swim. This is also a very young heat. Judeveld is only 14 years of age, touching second there, closely behind Aurélie Rivard. And then the 2 Hungarians are 15 and 14 years old, so Aurélie Rivard is the experienced one in this field.
She is at 19 years of age. What a great swim she had last night in the 50 freestyle, the new America's record, just a 1/10 of a second outside the world record held by Sophie Pascoe, who herself did a great time, 28.00, and finished in 3rd position. The S10 class, real strength in depth now in this classification for the women. I haven't seen that very often over the years, but now real tough standards here. Aurélie Rivard through in 1:10.26. Bianca Pat, the 15-year-old from Hungary, in 2nd position. Marie Oosterhuis from Netherlands in 3rd there at the halfway stage. Let's see if the breaststroke can change things around. It looks like Bianca Pap doing well, the SM10 swimmer in lane 3 for Hungary.
Judeveld, who's the European champion in the 100 breaststroke, is clawing back some time here though and coming up onto the shoulder of Bianca Pap, and she'll look to put herself in a good position for this final 50 metres. Aurélie Rivard will really be looking, as will Benoit Hu and all the Canadians, to have a good performance here, because they've actually got to go to Toronto next month and compete at a home Pan American Games.
That's right, he brought a big team here, 25 swimmers. It's going up to, I think, somewhere around 40 for American Games in a couple of weeks' time in Toronto. Aurélie Rivard, though, she is heading them home. Bianca Pap and Chantal Zuideveld in 2nd and 3rd, and it is 2:32.27 for Rivard. She takes it not too far away from her entry time of 2:32.09. And Bianca Pap in 2nd and Zuideveld in 3rd position. Oosterhuis for Netherlands in 4th position.
Aurelie Rivard will be happy with that after last night's performance, and it's always difficult to come back the morning after a great swim and feel like all guns are blazing and you're ready to go, but she definitely put down a good time there.
Rivard was the bronze medalist in this event in her home World Championships in Montreal 2 years ago. So butterfly leg, and there's the finish. So she finishes on her long arm, she does indeed. Finishes on the hand. It's always good to do, could make a big difference at the end. These things, these races can be decided by hundredths of a second. Aurelie Rivard takes that first heat, 2:32.27. The second heat sees the world record holder Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand in lane 4.
Take your marks.
Sophie Pascoe, this is one of, she's so good at so many events, but this is really one of her favourites, and she won a gold medal way back as a 15-year-old in Beijing in 2008, and she comes here after a month-long altitude camp in America, so we'll look to see her in really good form. She should dominate. Her PB is considerably further ahead than a lot of the field, but they are so young that we never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a very young set of swimmers here in the S10 classification for women. Sophie Pascoe, 22 now, Sophie Pascoe, but as you said, she has been around for a long time. Regular visitor to the UK. She used to come to the British International event many times. She was here last year, Commonwealth Games in 2014, when she took the gold in this very event. On that occasion, 2:27, and that was an excellent time considering she was suffering from an illness at the time.
Yes, and then she had to unfortunately sit out the Pan Pacific Championships that she was due to fly to, but that gave her a good summer to rest and recuperate, and she's come into this season in fine form, breaking the world record in the 100 metres butterfly and dipping under that 60 seconds for 100 metres freestyle. So this girl really is an accomplished swimmer, which is what you need to be a brilliant medley swimmer.
Well, keep an eye on the clock here. She's around about a second outside the world record pace. The record standing at 2:25.60. Where she set that in London in the Paralympic Games to win the gold medal. Going over there in 1:50.98. So yeah, just around about a second down on the time that she did in London. I'd expect her to ease back slightly on this freestyle because she has a massive lead over the rest of the field, almost 10 seconds in fact to the second place, Olivia Jablonska, and in third position Lisa Kruger from the Netherlands, going well there, up there in lane number 1, the 14-year-old Netherlands swimmer. He will challenge for second place, but she's not going to challenge for first because that is Sophie Pascoe. The world record may well be on the cards tonight because this is impressive.
Yes, that's the time that she went here in this pool last year for her Commonwealth Games glory. So she'll be happy to be back on that as a morning swim, and she'll be looking to dip below that 2:25 tonight.
And there's the championship record for Sophie Pascoe. Second place was Jablonska in 2:36. Jiang Meng from China in lane 7 in third, and Lisa Kruger was in fourth position, 2:37.95. I think that is going to be enough for another young Netherlands swimmer to progress to a final. They're doing well, the Netherlands team.
The Netherlands really are on the charge at the moment. Sophie Pascoe gets such a great start for someone who's got such a significant leg impairment in this classification, but her arms are so strong that she's developed the use of the wedge at the back of the block to really get power from those arms.
Very strong in all the strokes, Sophie Pascoe. It is absolutely no surprise that she is the world record holder and so dominant in this particular event. Sophie Glasgow takes that in a championship record, 227.47. Olivia Jablonska in second place. And there are the finalists. Sophie Pascoe leads them. Aurélie Rivard in second. 3 Netherlands swimmers in this one. Ziedeveld, Kruger and Oosterhuis. Men's 100 breaststroke for the SB8 class. Oscar Salguero Galisto from Spain has the fastest entry time. Andreas Onea from Austria, big Austrian hope for a medal in lane 5. There is Oscar Salguero Galisto. He was silver medalist at the European Championships last year. Dalton Herendeen from USA. Another relative newcomer there.
Range of different starts there. Some people going for the traditional grab start where both feet are at the front of the block, and that tends to not as often get as much power, but they're all in a line here, and we'll look for Oscar Salguero Galisto to start making his way to the front of the pack. This event has been dominated for so many years by Andre Kalina that we'll see go in the next heat. But we're seeing the spearhead take its shape as we hit the turn.
Salguero leads this one. Onea in second position. The Austrian coach Rosenberger yesterday said, got big hopes for the breaststroke events today. This is the big day for Austria. Sabina Weber-Treiber and Andreas Onea, silver medalist at the World Championships 2 years ago. Onea, but he is behind Salguero Galisto on this occasion. Well, these two may well fight it out for the medals. It looks like the Spanish swimmer is going to have the edge in the heat. A very good time, 1:11.66 for Salguero Galisto. Andreas Onea, 1:13.01. It's only 2 100 slower than he went to win the silver in the World Championships in 2013. But Salguero Galisto, he has improved over the last year.
That's great for the Spanish as well, because they've always strong, but they always rely a lot on the older members of the team. But here at this competition, we've seen a lot of the youth swimmers really come into the front and posting good times in heats and finals.
Dalton Herendeen from the USA was third position in that heat, 1:14.77. Tim van Duren fourth from the Netherlands, but very good swim for Salguero Galisto from Spain. See, with that arm impairment, swimmers in breaststroke normally touch with 2 hands, but if they don't have the hands to touch, they have to extend the arms to show the intention to touch with 2 arms.
Yes, and quite often in the early days, people would get disqualified because they just left that shorter arm by their side. But now that the rules are understood, it happens a lot less.
Galisto takes that heat, 1:11.66, very good, ahead of Onea and Herendeen. Andre Kalina, the man who has dominated this event, goes in lane 4. Next to him, Federico Morlacchi, 5 gold medals at last year's Europeans. Well, Andre Kalina has been around for a long time, Les. 2004 was the first time he became Paralympic champion. He has won every major title since then, with the exception of last year's Europeans, where he didn't take part, and that was won by this man, Federico Morlacchi.
Yes.
Take your marks.
contrast there between Kalina, who's an arm disability, and Morlacki, a leg disability off the start.
Yeah, the breaststroke definitely favours those with stronger legs and an arm impairment, which is why we'll see Federico Morlacki, who normally swims in the S9 classification for the freestyle and the butterfly and the medleys, coming down for breaststroke because he's deemed to be more impaired.
There's different emphasis, really. The classifications, we have SB classifications for the breaststroke, so they'll be different from the S classifications. The S classifications apply to the backstroke, the butterfly and the freestyle events, but it is deemed to be a different emphasis between legs and arms for breaststroke, so that's why we have an SB classification specifically for the breaststroke events. But Kalina, as we expected, the world record holder in 107.01, set that way back in 2008 at the Paralympic Games, and he touches comfortably ahead, 110.92. Morlacki, is he going to get second just ahead of Timothy Diskin of Australia? Morlacki 116.27, Timothy Diskin 116.48. That should be good enough to progress those two to the finals. Well, Diskin, he'll be pleased with that one. There's Kalina now swimming for Russia. Swam for Ukraine for many years, now representing Russia. Morlacki, Italian, trying to get on that medal podium again. And Diskin, the 18-year-old, he'll be pleased with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. The Australians have got a really good mix now of youth and experience, and these youngsters are really stepping up, as we saw earlier in the programme this morning. Kalina, though, he's so tight when he comes to his recovery arm stroke, and then his glide is so relaxed. His legs are really powerful, and he finishes that breaststroke on a perfect full stroke.
Kalina 110.92 ahead of Morlacki and Timothy Diskin. They should progress to the final this evening. Kalina will be the fastest qualifier. Oscar Salguero Galisto in second, Onea in third from those heats. Five swimmers in the first heat of the women's 100 breaststroke SB8. European champion Claire Cashmore in four. Well, you know Claire Cashmore very well, Liz.
Yep, my apartment buddy at London 2012.
Claire Cashmore being a medalist at all the major championships, right back to her debut in Athens 2004. For this one, Kuznetsova next to her in lane number 3 from Russia, Katerina Roxon from Canada in lane number 5. Main feature, Cashmore will be the favourite in the blue cap of Great Britain.
She had a great reaction to the buzzer then, up first off the block and into her stroke. Katerina Roxon's still with her, but Claire Cashmore's gained a lot of confidence from winning that European gold medal at last year's European Championships. She'll be inspired by Charlotte Henshaw's breaststroke form. They are roommates at this meet, and Charlotte came into this meet with a PB from 5 years ago, which is similar to Claire Cashmore, who hits the turn there in 37.5, which is a blistering first 50 metres. Hopefully she can hold that pace now. But Katerina Roxon not letting Cashmore get too far away.
Cashmore looking good there in that blue cap. We saw her family in the stands earlier. They will be cheering her on. And Cashmore just maintaining that body length advantage over Katerina Roxon of Canada. They are the 1-2 so far. Kuznetsova in third place at the moment, but Claire Cashmore, who actually tied for that European title with Alessia Ladikina from Russia. Cashmore just easing in now, but it's going to be a good time. 1:21.76 for Claire Cashmore. and that should see her into the final with ease. Roxanne 1:23.57, and in third position Kuznetsova 1:32.31, ahead of Jiang of China and Grogan of the USA.
That was a nice, relaxed, controlled swim from Claire, especially after going out so quickly in that first 50 metres. Sometimes in breaststroke you have a tendency to tighten up and get a lot shorter stroke, but she maintained that. And she'll be happy. She'll save something for this evening.
Claire Cashmore, lower arm amputee. She's difficult to keep that balance, isn't it, for the Ironman?
Yeah, and Claire's breaststroke doesn't always look the most comfortable from the front head shot, but she's got a really strong pair of legs that she dominates the pool with, and she'll be happy with that.
Cashmore takes heat number 1, 1:21.76. Heat number 2 of the women's 100 breaststroke SB8, Alicia Vladikina from Russia goes in 4 next to Ireland's Ellen Keane. Vladikina is formidable, isn't she?
She's a brilliant breaststroker, and she didn't have the best year last year, but she'll be looking to put that right now today ahead of Rio 2016 next year.
Vladikina twice a Paralympic champion in this event. Ellen Keane from Ireland, bronze medalist at the last World Championships. Vladikina, she always looks smooth as silk. Vladikina, she goes through the stroke there, headed by Ellen Keane and Polina Wozniak in the early stages, but Vladikina looks pretty comfortable in the centre of those two.
Alessia Vladikina always looks comfortable. She's got one of the most beautiful breaststrokes in the IPC movement. But Ellen Keane has gone for it this morning, and she's hitting the turn a little bit slower than Claire Cashmore. So she'll be looking to build on that in the second 50. But really, they just need to get a place in the final for this evening. Vladikina down in third, but she won't be too bothered about that because, again, like I said, I think they only need to drop a couple of swimmers, so she won't mind what lane she's in for tonight because she doesn't wear goggles, so she can't see her competitors anyway.
We saw last year in the Europeans that Vladikina went out to an early lead and Claire Cashmore tracked her in the closing stages of that. Could it be a tactic for Vladikina maybe to get an outside lane to stay away from Cashmore in the middle?
Quite possibly, because they're so used to tussling against each other. But Ellen Keane, that's a fantastic swim from her. And Polina Wozniak back in form after a bronze medal at the London 2012 Paralympics.
Well, Nikita Howarth actually getting in ahead of Vladikina there in 1:29.77. Just have a check of that. Vladikina in 4th position in that heat. Yeah, she will be comfortably into the final in 6th position, I think. So that'll put her in not quite the outside lane. Look at Ellen Keane. She's delighted with that one. 1:22.95.
Great morning swim for Ellen, and she'll be looking to build on that this evening.
Wozniak did a good swim there. Nikita Howarth, young New Zealander, 16-year-old, came through for 3rd position as Vladikina just held it back slightly. But Ellen Keane, well, she is going to be challenging for the medals tonight, definitely.
For so long, Claire Cashmore and Alessia Vladikina have been out on their own in this event, and it's really nice to see some of the other girls chipping away to try and get those bronze medals.
Ellen Keane takes that heat. Polina Wozniak in 2nd. Nikita Howarth, an oceanic record, in 3rd, ahead of the world record holder Vladikina. Claire Cashmore will be fastest into the final this evening ahead of Ellen Keane and Katarina Roxon, but Vladikina will be a threat. She qualifies in 6th.
Test start.
Now we move to the sprint events to finish the session this morning. Start with the men's 50 freestyle for the S4 classification. We saw this yesterday. It's kind of the more experienced campaigners meeting the youngsters here in this one. Mustafayev leads the world rankings this year. The only man under the 40-second mark, 33-year-old. He won the gold in this event in the London Paralympic Games in 2012.
We can expect to see a range of starts employed here because a lot of the impairments vary massively. But their functionality in the water is very similar.
There's Cordeiro da Silva from Brazil. There's Lucy Kin. There's Arnos Petracek. Watch out for him in the butterfly and backstroke events. And there's Richard Oribe. 16 times a Paralympic medalist. Very experienced Spaniard. Arnos Petracek.
Take your marks.
From the blocks, the others in the water. Petracek gets off to a good start, using that underwater distance well.
Yeah, and he'll look to take an early lead, but as he gets further down the 50 metres, the lactic acid will build up in his quads, his quadriceps, and his legs will start to burn. And so we'll look to see the guys then who have a strong arm pull maybe take the lead.
This is the S4 class, so swimmers will generally be impaired in all 4 limbs here. You see the hand impairment there at the front of the field for Mustafayev. The only man, as I said, under the 40-second mark this year, and he's 39.30. So that will be a comfortable swim for him. Oribe in 2nd position, 41.89. And it's the Brazilian Cordeiro da Silva in 3rd place. Mustafayev, he's happy with that one. Thumbs up from the Russian.
Comfortable win for him. You can see all the different starts there and the advantage that you get from starting in the block is quickly eradicated by the power that you can generate from the 2-arm pull.
Alexander Mustafayev, 39.30. Takes that heat 1 ahead of Richard Oribe. Cordeiro da Silva in 3rd position, just 1/100th ahead of Michael Schoenmaker of the Netherlands. Jo Gi-song of Korea returns to the pool. He won gold last night in the 200 freestyle. Well, what's the Korean going to do this time? There's a great performance last night in the 200.
Well, he's got the endurance. We'll have to see if he can match it with some speed. But he's looking pretty relaxed there at the starting block.
See next to him, Sanchez Martinez. There's Jo Gi-song, the new world champion at the 200. Sanchez Martinez from Mexico. There he is. He took the silver at the last World Championships behind Mustafayev. We saw in that first heat, he is number 2 in the world rankings this year, the Mexican. A time of 41, but I would expect they're going to go a little bit faster here.
Take your marks.
Jo Gi-song from Korea will be the favourite here. Again, Ranger starts here, but the Korean with that long range looking good at the front of the field.
Yeah, and he's already into an early lead. Lane 3, David Smetany. This is probably his best chance of a medal because he's come into this meet carrying an injury, but he is the gold medalist from 2008 in this event, and he's actually giving the Korean a run for his money.
Yes, indeed, David Smetany, 40 years of age now, experienced man from France, 12 times a Paralympic Games medalist, and it's David Smetany and Jogi Song in together there, and they are both under the 40-second mark. It's Jogi Song 39.61, Smetany 39.76. Smetany will be very happy with that one. Gustavo Martinez in 41.27 in third position.
Yes, Smetany, Guzong just getting the touch, but Smetany almost 2 seconds inside his entry time. So he will be quite surprised by that and looking forward to a close final this evening.
Well, Smetany must have a chance to be in the medals here. Just 3 men under the 40-second mark from the 2 heats. Smetany was right there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came back because Joe had such a good start. He was a good half a body length ahead off of the wall, but it came down to a very close finish.
15 100ths of a second separate the top 2 in that second heat, with the Mexican Gustavo Sanchez Martinez in third position. Mustafayev, the Paralympic champion, will progress to the final in first position. Jogi Song second and David Smetany third. This final will be close. Women's 50 freestyle S4 Heat 1 sees Ariole Trimi from Italy in the fast lane in lane 4. There's Ariole Trimi. We saw her last year at the European Championships. She is such a smooth freestyler.
Yeah, and we'll see textbook technique executed down this 50 metres.
There's Mafina from Ukraine.
Take your marks.
Probably won't be able to live with the pace of Trimi. Trimi, not the fastest away from the wall, but she's up and into her stroke, and that head solid as a rock there.
Yeah, a lot of young swimmers could learn from this arm stroke that Trimi has. She's a brilliant swimmer, and again, the Italians don't have a massive team, but whenever we do see them, they are occupying those middle lanes.
Look at that, it's kind of like a fin there, that black cap sticking up there at the front of the field, the hands going in perfectly in front of the head there. This is great technique from Ariole Trimi, and she comes in at 43.17. That's a new European record for Ariole Trimi, a lifetime best and a European record for the Italian in that first heat there. Lafina and Verbova follow her in, and they may well be in good shape to qualify for the final. Here's Ariole Trimi, 43.17. Well, she looks impressive every time we see her in the pool.
She looks pretty comfortable too, so we'll be looking for her to go a little bit faster this evening. But you can't complain with the best time in the morning.
His hands just catching the water. This is S4 class, remember, so swimmers impaired in all 4 limbs there. Ariole Trimi, though, 43.17, new European record for the Italian. heat number 2 sees world record holder Nelly Miranda Herrera from Mexico in lane 4. This is a combined event. It's actually S1 through to S4, but all the swimmers swimming for just one gold medal here. We do have the world record holder Nelly Miranda Herrera. She set that world record just about a month ago in Colorado Springs in the USA, 40.34. Also watch out for Gabdalina of Kazakhstan, the S3 swimmer, who is the world record holder in her classification, but she's having to swim up against the S4s today.
Take your marks.
Edenia Garcia using that band there to make sure that she's got the best fixation on the wall, but they're quickly away in the middle lanes. And some of these S3 swimmers are back for their second swim because they've already competed in the 100 freestyle earlier in the session.
Yeah, Nelly Miranda Herrera, great record in this event too. She is the reigning world champion. She is the Paralympic champion from back in 2008. There's no event for this class in the London Paralympic Games, but there will be in Rio in 2016. Let's watch now for Nelly Miranda Herrera. That world record, the recent world record at 40.34. Not going to do that today. She's in 42.7 and 42.79. That is just slightly faster than Ariola Trimi in that previous heat. And Dolina from Kazakhstan, 47.75 for the world record holder in the S3 class, and she will be well placed going into the final against the S4. She will be lying in 3rd position, I think, into that final. But I think Nelly Miranda Herrera will have a little bit more to give tonight.
Yeah, both her and Ariola Trimi in the first heat look pretty comfortable after they touched the wall in that 50-metre race, so you'd be looking for them to put a little more power in this evening. There is the S3 world record holder, and she'll be pleased to be mixing it in with the medals. And also Edenia Garcia back after another swimmer with a shoulder reconstruction over the Christmas period.
There's a theme going on here.
I know. Occupational hazard, I feel.
You're all right though, Liz, aren't you?
Now, yes.
There is Nelly Miranda Herrera. Just see the impairment in the hands very slightly at the front of the stroke there, but she's controlling that well and touching there in that time of 42.79. .79 is confirmed as the winning time for Nelly Miranda Herrera from Mexico. Sofina Gabaldina from Kazakhstan in 2nd position and Edenia Garcia in 3rd. Those 3 should progress to the final. Top 3 are Miranda Herrera, Ariola Trimi and Gabaldina. They will go into the final in the centre lane. Well, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. Thanks very much, Liz, for your insight in the heats this morning. We look forward to welcoming everyone back for the final session, which starts at 6 o'clock local time here in Glasgow. We will see you then.